Hello, and welcome to the Watchin It podcast. On today's show, after a slight detour, we finally have a Daredevil sighting in the Daredevil show. I'm your host, Donnell.
There are dinosaurs on this dinosaur tour.
I'm your host, Donnell. With me, as always, is Robert. If this is your first time tuning in, we like to do this podcast where we like deep dive into different TV shows that we're watching, occasionally some movies, and just give our thoughts and review of them as we go through it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you like that, then join us for this ride. Robert.
This week, we're talking about Daredevil.
We are.
Born Again.
Yep.
Episode 5 and 6.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't know why. I thought maybe there'd be like a
part one,
this
part
was a
two
big
thing.
like turning point in the season.
I mean, it was a big turning point.
It was, but I was thinking like that, like, oh, we're gonna have a big like thing happen. But I would say this before we even get into it. Like episode 5 very much felt like a
mini episode,
just here for no like It has, other than a very, very, very thin connection at the end, or I guess kind of happens in the middle, but then definitely at the end, it has nothing to do with anything the rest of the season has been about. It just very much was like, if Daredevil
it does have a little connection.
Oh no, it has a little connection, but it's so thin and just backhandedly mentioned. Like it's so backhandedly mentioned the way they present the connection that I'm just like, if you aren't like me and you, where we're dissecting episodes of, if you aren't paying attention, you could very easily miss it and be like, what was that about? Why did we just have this episode?
Yeah. It almost, like you said, it's very thin.
It's very thin. Anyways.
So yeah, episode 5, title, With Interest.
With Interest.
St. Patrick's Day bank heist foiled by Daredevil. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about episode 6.
I mean, in a sense.
Yeah.
But not by Daredevil.
There's a couple of things for us.
Foiled by Matt Murdock.
Okay, fair enough. There's a couple of things for us to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, one is go with the MCU connection continuing. I mean, of course, you know.
We'll get there.
Okay, we're not going. Okay, I mean, it's pretty much the beginning of this.
Well, let's see. Well, Matt Murdock. Yeah, okay. He goes into the bank.
Yep.
Because he wants to get a loan
to grow his law firm, which me and you have already talked about. We have no idea how this law firm is functioning.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know how they got this loft office space there.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna pull the scenes from because that would have been more than a year ago. The scenes from She-Hulk.
Yeah,
because She-Hulk had to be more than a year ago because he was always like, one of us, one of them, one for us, one for them, kind of thing to get money. I mean, I'm assuming he has some big clients and that maybe like his partner's bringing in money or something.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny that he's like, oh, we need to, grow our office size. I'm like, his office is gigantic for it's like empty all the time.
It's a huge loft office. Multiple offices that I've only seen 2 of them use. They got a conference room, plus then they got a big open office where people can sit and chat. So I'm just like, and I've lawyer wise, of course, we know Matt and his partner, and then I've seen like 2 or 3 people in the background occasionally. But I'm just like, you got like 9 or 10 desks in here and like 4 additional offices. Who are in those? Because I ain't seen
just
nobody.
Like empty lunchroom tables.
Yeah. I'm just like, who's working here, Matt? Who you? I've seen you, your partner, and like 3 background apparent like lawyers or paralegals. I don't know who they are because we never talk to them. They're just there.
But yeah, now we'll get to your connection, which I love. That they threw this in there.
I did too.
The loan officer. Is Miss Marvel's dad.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I was like, that's great. I like that connection.
They were a little too in your face.
Yes.
I think they needed to keep it subtle. I did not like the bobblehead thing.
My thought of why they were too in their face is because Miss Marvel and the Marvels are not Disney's biggest properties.
Yeah.
And also, like, a lot of people still, even if they did, they might not remember who her father was or remember that her last name is Khan. And so I think Disney that felt like if we don't put it in your face, people might not realize this is an MCU connection.
I mean, that's interesting because later in the next episode, or maybe I think even in this episode, next episode, we get another reference, which is a fun reference, but that one is so subtle. They're just like, oh, well, that's a good show.
Yeah.
That's a show good enough to get a sequel show. The first sequel show is Hawkeye 2 the first sequel?
We had 2 seasons of Loki.
Oh, fair enough.
Loki was the first sequel show. Is anybody else? I think it's just Loki. I mean, Agatha All Along. No, that's a spinoff, not a sequel. But
yeah, true.
But Agatha All Along is another one that's getting a sequel. So
really,
yeah, they have confirmed there's
I'll
going to be.
Take that.
Yeah,
I'll take
Don't
that.
know where it's going, how it's going to play out, but yeah, they have confirmed that. Because that's the thing, surprisingly, and I say this because not by my liking, but because of how I viewed things going at the end at Marvel. It's like I did not realize, but Agatha All Along was one of their biggest receptions. Like a lot of people liked it.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. I know me and you liked it, but I was like, I figured like we probably might be in that minority. I don't know. And then it's like, no, it did really well. And so maybe just because of its connection to WandaVision and continuing that story, but yeah, it did really well. And so yeah, Disney has greenlit that. So that's next sequel, just for people out there.
People love witches.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
So anyway, he gets turned down for this loan.
Yep.
And he walks out. Immediately, the bank starting to get robbed.
Yes. So, and this is not MCU or bad Marvel writing because plenty of other properties have done this. Since when, especially in the middle of downtown New York, can you pull up, hop out, plain clothes, face revealed, pop your trunk, start pulling guns out and handing them to your partners and be like, let's go rob this bank. I'm like,
they're doing it in front of everyone.
Exactly. And I've seen other movies and TV shows do, and it's always New York where it's like, what, is it just bank robberies that are so common? It's like, oh, they're robbing that bank. You keep it moving? Like, I don't know. But I'm just like, yeah, you're in the middle of the street. You're parking your van. No mask on, no subtlety. You just, here's your gun, you guys ready to go rob this bank?
That's not how it works.
I know.
I also love that he hears it. And then he turns around. He picks it, calls his partner. On the phone, and then immediately says he's talking to him, and then it says, "Call 911." And hangs up. And I'm just like, and tell them what?
Exactly. That was what I thought too. It was like, call 911 and be like, and what 911? My partner called me from somewhere. With no further, because he didn't even say the bank's getting robbed or I'm at the bank or I heard something. All he said was call 911. So it's like, you don't know, is there a child drowning? Did he walk by a public pool? Like, I guess maybe she knows he has super hearing, even though I know she doesn't know he's a superhero, but he has super hearing. So he heard something, but there's a lot of things you could hear.
Where is he, Lassie? Where's the boy? Where's the well, Lassie? Where's the well? Then more stupid phone shenanigans. Okay, the bank's getting robbed. And Khan is like, everybody is saying like AT&T sucks, which I thought was a funny dig. They just throw an AT&T under the bus as if that's even a phone company anymore. I don't even think AT&T
still are.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they've, like everybody else, they've transitioned to being a internet / cable provider. But just like everybody else, they still offer phone service for the old people who need it.
But no, Khan is furiously trying to get the phone to work. Obviously, I assume to call Kamala. Right. Call Miss Marvel. And he's like, it doesn't work. It's not working. I'm like, there's absolutely no way that you and everyone else in this building does not have a cell phone. Pick up the cell phone.
And also, I feel like him.
You've got a 911 call Miss Marvel button app on your cell phone.
I was about to say either that or like also just because jumping back to Miss Marvel, we saw that her friend does technology. And I'm like, the fact that every one of her family members doesn't have some sort of life alert pendant that just beeps her sort of thing, you know, no cell phone involved, just little hit a button on a pendant in your shirt and she gets a ping that, you know, dad's in trouble. Because I'm just like, come on, you're if you are a superhero and you have a family and they do not have some way to get express access to you in an emergency, what you doing? What are you doing?
And it's not like a big secret like Spider-Man. And your house has been destroyed by aliens.
I think about, because I read the Nightwing comics, and there's this one comic where Nightwing's out doing his thing and he breaks into the mayor's house and he's going and he gets knocked out, and like literally there's just instantly like everybody is like, he has a Teen Titans coming, Batman, half the Batman,
because he's got like a biometric scanner
and then it's funny though because it's funny, like it turns out he got knocked out, but it turns out that the mayor is secretly his long lost sister. And so he's not in danger. And so he's like, call him off. And Barbara Gordon's like, everybody pull out. Like, you literally see like Batman like pulling up the Batjet right before he like dives out into this building. Like, it's like, if you have a superhero in your family, if you have a superhero in your family, you got a life alert signal set up ready to go.
There's some back and forth between Murdock and the people. The police negotiator shows up. Are we supposed to know this character?
I don't know. So, and I think they were talking about Mr. Khan. But the description for this episode is Matt Murdock, with the help of a familiar face, foils.
They're talking about.
And Khan. So yeah, that's what I think. I think it was Khan, but I did every time I kept showing her, I was like, do I know who this is?
Like, she's got an individual character profile on the Wikipedia page.
Okay.
So I'm just like, maybe she's going to show up again later or something.
And this is only if we're really getting, but that also would involve Sony. If we're really getting weird and blended with it, is she did remind me, but I'm pretty sure she doesn't have the same name as I play the Sony Spider-Man games, and there is a police detective that you interact with as Spider-Man who eventually becomes her own vigilante when things go sideways. And I was like, is that maybe her? But I'm like, I don't think she has the same name, but they are both Asian, so I was like, maybe. But
he uses the bathroom ruse to get away from the main group.
Yeah,
starts taking down guards.
So I do like the guard who takes him at first. Who's like puts the gun to his head, like, you feel that, and like, yeah, at least he's paying attention to the fact that Matt's blind. So he knows that he has a gun trailed on him the whole time. It's like, he this is a very handicapped helping or whatever bank robber who's like, I can meet you where you need.
Also, like, he's like, don't try anything, and I'm like, what is he gonna try? He's blind.
Yeah,
he's the blind guy,
which is exactly what he wants you to think.
I did like in the fight when he catches the gun from falling down the stairs. He takes out a second guard that's with Khan at the vault, and I gotta say, Khan, shut the hell up.
Yeah,
it's like, when he's trying to crack the safe, Khan just keeps talking.
But also, on the same note, Matt does ask him, like, because he's talking.
Because Matt knows. But if I'm Khan, I'm like a blind guy trying to.
No. But what I'm saying is, Matt asks him a question, which makes him keep talking. Like, he asked him about... But during that scene also, the one thing I was thinking, he's like, you want to get back to see your daughter, don't you? And I'm like, in context, like, honestly, I'd like my daughter to swing by here right now. Because I'm just like, you want to see your daughter? He's like, yeah, I'd like to see her here right now.
He cracks the safe. I do like when he asks him, what kind of lawyer are you? And he says, like, I'm a really good one.
Yeah.
There's a call back to, the Spider-Man movie.
So this safe cracking scene, I get that Matt Murdock has super enhanced hearing.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that coin, I'm like, literally, bank vaults are built so that safe crackers with using tools, and I know he has his ears that are super enhanced, but still, I put it on the same level of having safe cracking tools for hearing into the thing, are literally built to confound even safe crackers using tools to hear. So I'm like, I'm just like, I get it for the sake of the show.
No, there would be more than just this dial. I've got a lot of problems with this. There'd be more than just the dial. It would be time sensitive.
Yep.
And if it wasn't, this is not a vault with just money sitting on a counter.
No.
This is a safety deposit box vault.
Yep.
This would be opened when the bank opens for anybody to come in that wants to get in.
By to get your safety. Especially,
I mean, I guess if the regular manager wasn't there to open the vault, because no one else there could open the vault. I guess that makes sense.
But I guess what you let everybody know ahead of time, or I guess when they show up. I was also just thinking, one of the hostages went beforehand. It's like, he's like, there's nothing in that vault, just safety deposit box. They're not going to get anything. I was like, dude, safety deposit box is like
where all the goodies are.
That's what I'm saying. He lists off what he has, and it's not much. I'm like, just because you put a bunch of random assortment junk in your safety deposit box doesn't mean that other people aren't putting valuables. So I'm like, if they come across your safety deposit box, they're probably going to be bummed out. But I guarantee that there's some other people in here, probably some criminal elements who might be stashing who knows what in here. And so I was just like, listening to him, like, what are you going to get? It's like, I don't know, whatever somebody wants to keep hidden from other people.
No,
maybe blackmail stuff, maybe priceless gems, who knows?
If I'm Murdock, I'm just, by the way, Khan talking again too much while he's trying to open the thing, dropping the keys several times.
Yep.
If I'm Murdock, I'm just like, give me the keys. I'm gonna
give me the keys. He's trying to keep his
anonymity. Stand in the corner.
Because how could he find a safety deposit box?
Think about whether you're gonna give me that loan now. So anyway, they get a big diamond.
Yep.
Go upstairs. He trades it.
Yep.
Quote trades it for the freedom, but at some point he had switched it for a piece of candy.
Well, he doesn't trade it. He uses it to distract him because he hears the cops are coming in.
Yeah.
And so he uses it to distract by tossing it in the air, which I really wonder when he made the switch, because it's like, it couldn't have been when he tossed it in. I mean, I guess maybe. Actually, I guess it could have been when he tossed it in the air.
I think he just... Okay, yeah, I don't know when he made the switch, because I don't know when he got the candy.
Yeah.
But I know he like made the switch into the candy bowl at the end.
At the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when he made it, because it had to be before, obviously, they got out, because he hands it to the one chick hands the bag. To
yeah. They've got an inside girl in the bank.
Yep,
he hands it off to him and says, "Give this to Luca."
And there it is. There's our very thin.
Well, I mean, it's a little thicker than that because we find out that the diamond, like what's in the safety deposit box, is worth $1.8 million.
Right.
Which is exactly the amount of money that Fisk wants Luca to pay to the other gang for robbing the truck.
Yeah.
You gotta really be paying attention.
Yeah, no. For robbing the truck, and that does lead into next episode where Luca says he's not going to pay it now.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the money.
Yeah, he's like originally it looks like he was, but anyways, that's getting into the next episode.
I do like him getting the red mask and then just fighting off all the guys while the cops are breaching.
Yeah. And then he is able to pinpoint the two, the lady and also the guy who is now dressed as a cop. He goes into a back room and gets out dressed as a cop. Or actually, I don't think dressed as a cop. I think it was a cop. I think he was one of the cops.
I'm not sure. I could see him being
cops.
I could see him being one of the cops.
Yeah. But yeah, and so Matt tracks him down, beats the crap out of him.
Oh, that leg break, man.
Yeah, I know. Because I was just like, because like I said, I do think he was one of the cops, and I think this is also partly why Matt just beat the crap out of him. Because I'm like, there's no way he can prove, and especially with other cops, like this is the guy who robbed the bank. He doesn't have any evidence, and so I think it's like, he's just like, I'm gonna make you suffer though. I think that's what happened. Is like, I think that guy probably not going to jail because I don't think anybody. He's just going. I got attacked by a random dude and stuff, and
in a mask.
So he's not going to jail, but at least he's going to suffer, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then we circle, but he did the candy switch.
Yeah,
we circle back around to kind of after the show, before the credits scene. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, where he's having a friendly conversation with Yusuf Khan. Trades the candy for the diamond. Yeah. But then they talk a little bit about having a dinner and meeting the daughter.
And I'm like,
we better get that scene.
Yeah, I was about to say,
we better get that scene.
That's going to happen, right? We're not just talking about it.
There should have been. I was like, after credit scene.
Yeah.
After credit scene.
I was like,
after credit scene.
That's gonna happen, right? And then who knows?
I mean, look, Kamala has to show up at some point.
Yeah.
In the show. If they don't, it's unacceptable.
The more
they
think
teased
about
it too hard.
The more I think about it, the more I'm like, why would anybody in their right mind, any criminal in their right mind, try to do crime in New York in the MCU? Because it's like,
well, she's from Jersey,
still, but I'm just like, you have Spider-Man,
yep.
Daredevil, Punisher, Miss Marvel. Eventually, I mean, we're not there yet, but eventually the Fantastic Four is moving in. Iron Man had a building there. The Avengers had a building. I'm like, go do crime somewhere else. I'm not saying all crime's going to stop in the world, but I'm like, I'm not littering in New York City. There are too many heroes who call this place home.
Yeah, I'm still of the belief that Luke Cage is around.
Yeah, Luke,
so
exactly.
Jessica Jones.
So Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist. Like, this place is littered with heroes and vigilantes. Why would you try to do
Wizards,
anything?
super beings?
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Doctor Strange lives there. Do not do crime in New York City. What is wrong with you? If you do anything, you are just dumb.
Not to mention Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Rolling around.
Mm-hmm.
What's she doing?
Yep, Hawkeye's there.
I mean, that's an interesting one because Hawkeye should show up in the show because she's got a history with Fisk.
Yes.
I need to see Hawk Girl's reaction or Hawkeye. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. I get what you said.
What's her name? What's her character's name?
Oh, crap. I cannot remember her name all of a sudden. Kate
Bishop.
Bishop. There we go.
Yeah. Bro. We figured it out.
I know. We didn't have to do any.
Where are the tracksuits? Come on.
Yeah.
I need tracksuits. Anyway, I guess they're all dead. But but no, Kate Bishop is like should be here because I need her reaction to when Fisk gets
elected mayor.
That was her mom's boss.
Even though
they had a fight.
I'm not a big fan of the show. What the hell is Echo? Same thing. She knows who her uncle is and all he's done, got her, and I don't
even remember what happened to her at the end.
I can't remember what happened, but all I do remember is that her uncle killed her father, and she knows he's a criminal, and she was part of the criminal organization. And then to see that same man become the mayor of New York, I was like, I would have something to say about that. So that is a weak point. It's both we have two characters that have direct involvement with Fisk, who would have huge objections to him becoming the mayor of New York, and they just ain't going to show up.
Yeah. There are so many people that have leverage on him. Of look, you want to stay mayor.
Yeah.
You got to, grease the grease the palms, or else I'm releasing this paperwork. You know? Like Kate Bishop's mom. And stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, get me out of prison. Yeah, you know, or else, you know. Yep. Anyway, that's the end of that episode.
Yep. Like I said, it's a deep. Like I said, there is. It
wasn't
connection.
Bad. It was just like a waste of time.
Yeah, it just didn't. Other than like I said, that very thin connection, it doesn't really add to the story at all of what they've been building of, you know, Kingpin becoming mayor. But slowly, I mean, and this is kind of what we're going to get into next episode. But is Kingpin is basically what I view. It's called Daredevil Born Again. I think this is both about Matt Murdock realizing he needs to be Daredevil again, and Kingpin realizing he can't not be the Kingpin anymore. Like, I think both of them are kind of both coming to their alter egos, and this episode especially kind of.
No, I think it's the opposite of Kingpin. I think he like tried to get away from it, but he's slipping hard. Slipping hard
to being Kingpin.
Yeah, again,
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you meant he was going to be born again. Not as
no. It's both of them realizing they can't escape being their alter egos of Daredevil and Kingpin. Like Kingpin's trying to be the mayor and trying to be cool, but it's like you're the Kingpin, man.
We'll talk about it.
Same with Matt Murdock. I'm like, you're Daredevil.
We'll talk about that.
Put on the red spandex.
But first, if you like this podcast, you should check out our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media. Yeah, there we go. Word's good. And email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. We've got blog posts aplenty now going up there. You can also support us on the things, the Patreons and the Spotifys and Spotify? Yeah, we get money on Spotify.
Yeah. You're doing it. You're doing it.
Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, as you already said, check out the website. We haven't been able to do what we've been watching, but we're trying to throw up our some of the stuff we have been watching.
Too much content.
I know Robert and me both. We have seen Mickey 17. We're both going to have a post up there about that. Got some other posts on other shows and movies. If you checked out Invincible this season, I got a post up there about that, my thoughts on it. And yeah, just lots of good content there. And give us any feedback you have, if you have any thoughts. And yeah.
Hey, let's talk about episode 6.
Let's do it.
Excessive force.
Yes.
I didn't feel a lot of excessive force this episode.
I mean, Fisk kind of messed up the one dude at the end.
Yeah, but that was just regular.
And then also, I think excessive force is more referring to what Fisk makes in this episode, which is the special police.
Yeah. Well, that's the excessive force episode. Yeah. Should be whenever all the cops come after Daredevil. Yeah. And he fights that entire platoon of police officers in a hallway.
You're just waiting for this hallway.
We've already had a couple of hallway fights, but there's always hallway
There's always a good hallway fight.
All right, we get some BB news articles in here. Yep. Nothing really interesting except when the guy shows the video of a guy in a black suit with a sword. Yeah. And I'm like, it's the guy. Yeah. It's the guy. Which we'll talk about him more later. But yeah, Swordsman. He is out there. Yep. I hope we will get him in Hawkeye too.
I hope so.
Jack's the best.
I mean, yeah, we've gotten in this so far. Of course, we've gotten the tie to Punisher because. Of course we have. And then now we have a tie to Kamala Khan, and then we also have a tie to Hawkeye with the Swordsman. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we're getting some interest.
They're just reminding everybody this is an MCU show.
Yeah.
Not the Netflix show. We got the ancillary characters. That we can bring in. Worker finds a body in the port-yard where they're like cleaning up and getting ready to build this new port that he wants to make.
He wants to do.
And then there's a quick scene of them trying to remove this graffiti.
Yeah, they can't, which I don't know how mixing blood with stuff makes it unsolvable because there's many things that can remove blood.
No, because they put a laminate over it. They put an epoxy over it that protects it. Okay. Like some kind of epoxy.
I mean, not to be this guy. They're all this like, we can't get rid of it. What do we do? I'm like, I don't know. You paint over it?
I don't know. Whatever
if you can't remove it, then I don't know.
I bet
over it.
Whatever that art renovations guy on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Like I bet he could dissolve whatever that stuff is and clean that wall in like an hour. Yeah. Like he knows what's up. He'd bring his kit with him. Yeah. But like you said, they do a test on it to figure out what it is so they can remove it and find out that there's blood mixed in. Yeah. We get some scenes of Murdock praying, which is fine. He's Catholic, whatever. But then they're doing flashbacks of like the last 2 episodes. Yeah. And I'm just like, we just watched them.
Exactly. I was like, who is And also, if you, I always skip this, but if you don't skip it, they also give you a previously on that shows you the last 2 episodes. So it's like I just watched it, and then you did the previously on, and now we're watching the episode, and here's some more flashback, and like we get that stuff has happened.
And then Donnell, I think the people who make this show hate us specifically.
Okay.
The Watchin It podcast.
Okay.
Because the next 5 minutes of this show, too many fast cuts.
Yes.
They are cutting every 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe less. Maybe every 5 seconds. They are cutting between Murdock hanging out with his girl.
Yep.
And talking about making a vigilante book where she's like, oh, can you introduce me to the Punisher?
Yeah, I love that though when she's like, yeah, you've worked with the Punisher. She's like, you want me?
Yeah.
To the Punisher, and I'm like, yeah, that's not. Punisher's not one for doing interviews. Plus, he also doesn't wear a mask, which is kind of your whole thing. Why do they wear masks? He can't answer that question because he's never worn a mask.
And then she also wants to talk to Daredevil.
Yeah,
which is going to be interesting if they go anywhere.
If they go with that. If they.
I mean, she's going to find out if he's going to be beat up and all sorts of stuff. He's not going to be able to hide it from her.
I mean, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone and you're a hero, you gotta. I mean, I don't know. We were talking, and this isn't directly the same thing, but in Invincible, when Mark's mom tells her new boyfriend that Mark is invincible, I get where she's coming from. I do think she should have done it right, but I was like, yeah, if someone's gonna be involved with you and you have superhero family members, like there comes a time when you're like, well, I need to let you know. I wear spandex.
Yeah. I mean, he's wearing leather. He's wearing Kevlar and stuff. He's not just spandex.
I know.
Fisk gets a visit from Luca.
And at the mayor's office.
At the
to be
mayor's
specific,
office,
which is huge issue. I mean,
Luca's like, I'm not paying. Fisk is like, yes, you are, and I'm going to tax you even more.
Give me $1 million also.
Basically building up to Fisk being Kingpin and going to have to slap him down and shut it down so that way he can build his support.
I got to be, Luca is talking some real big game, and I'm just like, I don't know. I guess it's like he has been out of the game for a minute, and his wife was running things, and then he comes back and he becomes the mayor, and he hasn't been doing his normal stuff. But I just feel like, yeah, but you've seen what Fisk does to people, right? Like, I get you haven't seen it in the last couple of years, but you have seen what this man can do to another man, right? And you just, okay. I mean, that's your prerogative, Luca. I just feel like me, myself, even if I was going to rebel, I might not go so hard about it.
But the sanitation guy comes in and he explains the blood murals and all this stuff. And then we cut to... And
it says that... Oh, no, was that later when they just discover how many different...
Oh, that's later. That's later on. Yeah. They haven't had the meeting yet. They're kind of ramping up to that. But we cut to Murdock at the office. White Tiger's niece comes in. I'm not a fan of this character.
I'm not a fan of this character.
She's just kind of moving the plot forward.
And I was going to be very, very upset if something happened later on, if something happened that I thought happened. Because basically, I'll just skip to it. She goes looking for something, some clues about who's killed. Because
it's hinted at that the White Tiger was hunting something, which we know it's the Muse.
But so she goes looking for it, and I thought that she was going to find the Muse, but it looks like she doesn't. It looks like he finds her and ambushes her. But I thought she was going to stumble across his lair, and I was going to be like, let me get this straight. The whole police force, a bunch of people the White Tiger, when he was like, can't find the Muse, but a 15-year-old girl spends one night looking around and she finds it. But
she knew that it had something to do with Track 61. Which she told to Murdock, which is why he was able to find her. So she knew where to look, but I'm like, you better be having that necklace on.
Yeah, I know.
You got to have that White Tiger powers. You can't just at
killer.
Nighttime. You're just gonna go at nighttime.
At night, gonna go wander to a serial killer's lair. Yeah, that sounds a good plan. But anyways, so she shows up.
Also, this is like an active train track. I thought this was like an abandoned stuff.
No, trains go through there all the time. But
ridiculous.
So she shows up and basically, and here's the thing: it's one of the if this she doesn't know he's Daredevil, and us watching, we do know he's Daredevil, but her, and I get she's coming from a place of frustration, but her demands of her dead uncle's public defender is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you need to do something. Like, okay, yes, we know this is Daredevil. Yeah, unless she knows he's Daredevil. Like, we know he's Daredevil. But if this is just, you're asking a blind, like, you don't know he is a super, you're asking a blind lawyer to help you track down a serial killer. Not, like I said, yes, he happens to be a vigilante with very, very particular skills. But you don't know that. So, in looking at it rationally, what? This is a blind man. It's a blind dude. And you're just, I need you to go above outside the law, outside of what you normally do, because you're just a lawyer. You're not even working with the cops, and you need to help me find a serial killer. And I'm just like, where are you coming from?
Okay, so let's talk about Fisk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Fisk storyline till the end, and then we'll come back to Matt Murdock. So anyway, so Fisk gets a briefing about all the murders, that there's a serial killer out there. Yep. He's like, I'm going to put together a little my personal cop army.
Yeah, which I like this move. Yeah, I like this move because I'm like, it makes so much sense for Fisk to have his and I love who they call them cop gangs. I'm like, that's exactly what it's going to be. But it's like and stuff because it's like for him to basically get his own criminal element, but his legal criminal element in a sense. It's like it's above board. Finger quotes, because they're all cops, and I guess something happens. Like, I guess it just happened. But I did like this moment. I was like, this is good.
Yeah. But he's getting ready to go to a fundraiser gala.
Yep.
Thing. I love that his jacket rips.
Yeah, I know. When I saw that, I was like, Robert's gonna like this. Yeah, I was like, Robert was talking about Kingpin needs to get back to being big.
None of his other clothes are gonna fit. He's breaking out the white suit.
Yep,
That's what I need to see.
When I saw that jacket rip, like, yep, Robert likes this. But he's getting ready to go to this fundraiser. Surprisingly, with Vanessa, because most of his mayor stuff, he's been trying to be to the side of all of it.
They're healing. Healing.
Yeah, they seem very, very good as a couple this episode. I feel like this marriage counseling is working.
But I love this. He kind of just got into office. Yeah. But now he's meeting the real power. Yeah. Yeah. And they're all just like, you're nobody to us. Yeah, it's like we were here before you.
We were here before you.
After
you got your 4 years, and then they just make it very clear. Like, no, we've been running this show. Yeah. This is our city. Yeah. And we make
it's like you don't build the ports. Yeah. We build the ports. He's like,
we look at this port, and this is just a way for you and your associates, and they clearly know also because when they say associates, they're not talking about business partners. He's talking about the criminal. Like they clearly know, and which doesn't surprise me that the wealthy elite would know that that Fisk is the Kingpin, Yep. And so I liked this scene, but also it's like as I was talking about, like, this is where he's feeling that Kingpin itch, isn't he? Yeah. He's listening to these smug people talk down to him, like, white suit time.
I mean, I don't know why he wants to be mayor. It obviously makes no sense to me. He had tons of power when he was
biggest
Kingpin.
thing is that he wants to be able to be out in the open in a sense. Like, as the Kingpin, he can't flaunt who he is as much, because it's like, gotta keep it under wraps. Whereas as mayor, especially if he's, like I said, with this special, as we see the special cop force, and if he's still running, he can run things and even be seen as because I imagine, like I said, if he does get this poured up, like there's probably there's a criminal element to it, but it also will look good to the people. So it's like he can run things and be even seen as like a good mayor or a good guy while still being a criminal and getting more money and that sort of stuff.
It just makes no sense to me. I don't think it works. He wasn't ready for getting children singing at him aggressively.
Yeah, no, I will say he and that's why I'm just like, all this stuff is just picking at him. I just feel like he's just picking at that Kingpin. I'm just like, you ain't gonna be able to hold this facade for much longer.
But of course, why is that the gala amongst the rich and famous of New York? Yep. Or the socialites of New York? He runs into fan favorite. Yep. Jack. The swordsman himself. Fantastic. I love that they brought him in here.
I know. When we first just see the video, I was like, I thought that was all we're going to get. But then, he shows up.
Also does some jabs at Fisk as well. I'm like, oh, man. Be careful. Be careful.
Hey, he's a sword.
Don't jab him unless you got the sword.
He can handle himself. You know that Jack. I mean, he may not have it on him, but that sword ain't far.
I'm surprised he didn't have a sword on him. That would be so funny. Yeah. And then we cut to he is talking to
so he gets interrupted because the Muse. There's a scene where the two girls run up to the Muse, and they end up being his next art project, and so he gets interrupted because the Muse strikes again, and this is where he talks with the police chief, basically being like, yeah, the cops aren't doing anything their way, so I'm going to handle this.
Also, I hated that, like, BB cut.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where they're just like, oh, I hear there's a couple of girls missing.
Yeah.
I'm like, who are you talking to?
I know. I'm like, who?
How is this traveling?
This is New York.
Also, a couple of girls missing. They were just eyes carved out, sitting against
in the
the
street.
wall.
Like,
There's
my thing
no
is, like,
way
maybe
this
they
isn't
haven't
on the news.
That's my thing is, like, when they're like, I hear there's a couple of girls
they ain't missing.
I'm just
they
like,
found.
It's the same night, so it hasn't been that long. So how do you know they've been missing? And like, this little scene didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pulls out, tells the police chief he wants to make his own unit, hands him the paperwork, and I love how he's like, this is every single bad apple in the book. And I'm just like, yeah, I feel like these
The commissioner is one of them.
What do you
Right?
mean?
He's a bad apple. The commissioner.
Are the police?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he's a bad
They've never alluded to him doing it, being part of that section.
I just feel like he's a bad apple.
Oh, you just feel.
You don't get to be the police commissioner of New York unless you've got some skeletons.
I think
in
that
the
way,
closet.
but also I think because they really framed him
some stuff under
as
the rug.
being anti-Fisk and that sort of stuff. Where I feel like if he was a corrupt cop, he'd be more willing to work with Fisk. Where I feel like they're trying to suit him as the
because he really doesn't like Fisk.
as the good police commissioner who knows Fisk is corrupt and hates it. And
I think it's a bad guy versus the good
power.
Bad guys.
Okay.
It's like the cops hate the bad guys.
Yeah.
But they're bad guys too.
Yeah.
But they're the good bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. Anyway.
But anyways, he gets his unit together.
Yep.
And it looked like in an airport hangar somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
I'm like,
understand
where
where
are
they
we
were.
meeting? But he gets them together. And I mean, we get to see the one guy who Daredevil's been running into or Matt Murdock's been running into. He's one of them, of course, but there's some other guys we don't recognize, but he does kind of point out some of them and how they got here doing, excessive force stuff, going too far, and basically gives them the green light to be like, hey, do what you got to do.
What did he give them?
He just was giving
some kind
them
of uniforms or something.
I think it just looked like bulletproof vests. I think it was this bulletproof, like giving them equipment. But yeah, he makes it very clear. It's like, yeah, we're not, which I don't think they ever thought they were going to wear masks. But still, he's like, we're not going to wear masks because we're the good guys.
I thought they were about to go full Watchmen, like the TV show.
Yeah,
where all the cops wear masks.
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah. Later on, we get Fisk. He's going down to whatever little layer he has underground.
It looks very much similar to the kind of like space that the Muse is in. Where I'm like, is Fisk also down in the subway system? I was like, but yeah, he goes down there with an axe. And basically, I was like, Adam, because when Fisk was like, Vanessa would like me to set you free, and Adam's like, thank you. I'm like, Adam, buddy, he said would like you. She didn't say Vanessa's having me or I'm going to. He said he would like you, meaning that's not going to happen, buddy. I was like, you were thanking this man, but I'm like, that's not what's about to happen.
Yeah, this was like Shiloh. It's like, pick up the gun, pick up the gun. I'm like, I'm not picking up the gun. I'm not picking up that axe. But also, can we? For a second here. Okay. Vanessa.
What about it?
Cheated with this guy?
Oh, yeah. No,
I know he's been locked in the cage for a bit.
He's looked better.
Not good enough for Vanessa.
I imagine his hair wasn't that long. He's probably kept a clean, trim facial hair. And she was talking about how he was an artist, and maybe he really got to her with his art.
She's not gonna get gotten to by the artist.
She says she was looking for something different than Fisk. He didn't want another, power hungry thugs. He wanted someone sensitive and artistic.
She overcorrected.
I know. I'm just trying to make some sort of case for this guy. Okay.
Anyway, Fisk beats the crap out of him.
He gives
him to death.
Gives him an axe. And I love his story because at first it's like, really, Fisk, you're going at this man with an axe? And he's like talking about when he was young, and when he was little, and he's like fighting guys, and quickly realized that if you have a tool, it can even the playing field. And he just chucked the axe. And I'm like, oh, I see what we're doing here.
Yeah, because you get this little artist dude.
Yeah.
Can't take. I mean, if I'm this guy, I'm like, I can't even take you with an axe.
Yeah, but I was like, why don't you bring me a gun? We'll give this a shot.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's the only way this is a fair fight.
I don't think that I could beat. If I had, I would need some significant firepower.
Oh yeah.
In order to take on Fisk, if he just handed me like a 9mm.
No, a 9mm is not. No, you're gonna need.
I'm like, no, that's not enough.
At least like a Desert Eagle, something with that pack.
Some stopping power.
Yeah, you're gonna need some stopping power.
I'm gonna need a shotgun with a 12 gauge shotgun with slugs in it.
Yeah.
No gauge.
Yeah.
Slugs. Like. All right, so let's go back to our regularly scheduled Daredevil.
Yeah.
He's gets a call from Angela, which is the name of the niece, White Tiger's niece, Angela.
Yeah, but it's
not her mom.
Yeah, it's her.
No, I guess her aunt.
Yeah.
No.
They never connect.
We don't know.
We
Some
know
lady
that,
that's trying to find out where she was.
I'm pretty sure, and they just never really connected us. I'm pretty sure. So we know White Tiger is her uncle, and I'm assuming that was his wife who called. And I'm also assuming that they have, like, I'm assuming she lives with them.
Angela.
Yeah,
okay.
like I feel like not that you can't care about your uncle a bunch. I'm not saying that you have to be being raised by your uncle to care about him this much, but it just really seems a lot more familial than just uncle, aunt, and niece. Where I'm like, no, these are essentially her parents. I feel like,
yeah,
but yeah. So C calls on her phone, and it's not, and basically saying, I haven't seen her, and she was talking about seeing you, and also her uncle's investigation, and and I'm just like, I don't know I don't know how much authority you have as her aunt, but I'm like, I don't know if my niece is talking about following up on my dead husband's investigation that got him killed, and then also is talking about going to see the lawyer about getting help, I might want to step in, because like no matter what, she's a young girl. She should not be. I know it's going to be on her mama. This should not be what you're pursuing.
This is very much a 10 o'clock at night. Do you know where your children are situation?
Yeah.
Again, what is this girl doing out in the middle of the night, searching under train tracks?
Exactly.
This is daytime activity for this child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad parenting. CPS
100%.
needs to step in. Anyway, this pushes Matt over the edge.
Yeah.
And he just says, "Screw it."
He calls the police at first, which once again...
Oh, he realizes they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, not just that, but also once again, and what are you going to tell him? Tell him. I guess you tell him a little girl's missing, but even then it's like, why didn't her aunt call, which we know why, but stuff. And also, do you have any more information than she's... Because they don't know where to start looking or anything. Yeah. So that's my thing. Is like, calling the police, I was like, and what, Matt? Like, and stuff. But so he goes to get on it, or he goes...
Well, can we also talk about, again, heralding back to last episode...
Yeah.
If you just call 911 and then don't say anything.
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah.
They will come.
They will call you back, and then if you don't pick up, they're on their way to your place now.
Maybe not in Hell's Kitchen, but you're rolling them dice.
Yeah. I was just like, I was like, do you not, you're a defense lawyer, you work with work for and against the cops all the time. You should know what happens when you call 911 and then just hang up. Like,
also, he's just going to call 911 and be like, a girl is missing.
Yeah.
Okay. There's like probably 100 or 1,000 of them right now in this city.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I was thinking. It's like, that's it. Yeah. That's all we got. But yeah, so he decides to shoot up. We cut to the Muse, taking her into his lair. I guess he doesn't kill them before he drains them of blood.
No, because you got to keep that blood pumping. You got to...
I feel like
if you just kill them, it's harder to drain. But they were hanging upside down.
Yeah, I just feel like...
What's he doing with them? I guess he was just dumping the bodies.
Yeah,
with
I don't know.
It
it seemed like, at least in all the other cases, they were dead before he did the blood drain. And I was like, this is a very convenient plot. I thought they were going to go there, actually. I thought that, and this was going to be the real thing that really pushed Matt back, was I thought that she was going to be dead. Like, he messed up by not helping her, and he was going to have another regret on his mind that he got there too late. And but it turns out she's still alive.
Yeah, because they were doing the whole heartbeat thing while they were
That's what I'm about to say.
Is
he hears her heartbeat, so he knows she's alive.
This is a pretty good fight.
I didn't like it.
Fair enough.
For one reason. Daredevil was way too dominant. And my thing is, we don't have the establishment of Muse. That's the thing. I'm coming from the comic book knowledge of him, and I'm like, this is a way more fair fight than it should be a way more fair fight. Because the Muse, excluding his two superpowers of enhanced speed and also Sentry turn off.
He's also got enhanced strength.
Yeah, and he also has a background in martial arts. Like, he's not just some scrub. So I just was like, it was way too one-sided for me. Like I said, we haven't established who or what the Muse is and whether this guy's the true Muse. But from my nerd comic book mind, I was just like, Daredevil's just handling this way too easily. Like, he is beating the crap out of the Muse. I want Daredevil to win, but just like when I watch Batman fight Ra's al Ghul, I want a good fight. And then my hero wins. Yeah. And it was just way too much like, because spoiler, 4 or 5 minutes from now, the Muse gets away.
Yeah.
And so there's obviously going to be another thing. So I'm like, is there any challenge here? Like, I wanted there to be a good fight, and then the Muse get away, and then it's like, yeah, now there's a threat out there for Matt.
Yeah.
But right now, it does not seem like a threat.
Yeah.
It seemed very much like, oh, next time I see you, I'm going to continue to kick the crap out of you.
Maybe he's going to do something that powers him up.
Maybe.
The Muse. Or maybe he was just taken off guard or something.
Caught off guard.
I mean, I think really they're just severely weakening him compared to
his comic book
itself.
Yeah. Because
otherwise he would have just wiped the floor
all
with
the time.
Matt,
All the time they do that and stuff. With the heroes, and
sometimes you got to do it.
They changed their powers completely. So,
but anyway, saves the day. Even though the bad guy gets away, saves the girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of the episode.
That's the end of the episode. But I mean, finally,
Daredevil is here.
He's got the Daredevil. I was scared,
Fisk
especially
is back.
The more I thought about the title of this series, I was really scared they were going to do a whole 8 episodes of no Daredevil and then
they just did 6 episodes.
I know. It's still, at least we get 3 episodes of Daredevil. But I was really scared with it being called Born Again, and also with them green lighting season 2 right after. I was like, oh, they're going to do a whole season of Matt Murdock figuring out he needs to be Daredevil again.
Yeah.
And that's why we get season 2 right away, is because they're like, yeah, now here's the real Daredevil. So, and I'm just like, But no. He showed up. It's, like I said, it was 6 episodes, but at least he's in the suit.
Yep.
We're fighting again. Thank goodness.
Good times. Good times. How many episodes do we have left? 3? 3?
3.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
There it is.
All right, we got a few more minutes. What have you been watching? I've been watching still. I'm on season 8, halfway through of The Blacklist.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it till I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm doing. It's just watching The Blacklist. I'm not even watching any anime.
The Blacklist?
10.
10? Okay.
10. I should finish it by the next time we record.
Nice.
I think because I powered through it pretty fast.
Yep.
But it's a long one. It's 20 episodes.
Yeah.
I will say this: it was interesting because it got to the. So most of the seasons are 22 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But season 7 only has 19. And the very last episode is different because it happened. It came out in March of 2020. So they filmed half of the episode. Yeah. And then everything shut down.
Right.
So instead of just like pausing everything, they're like, okay, we're on the last episode of the season. Let's just get this done and get it over with.
It was 19.
They had everybody do motion capture from their homes and then created cartoons of them.
Okay.
Kind of like Scanner Darkly.
Right.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the way they did that. It's not great.
Yeah.
And then they slapped that together and filled in the gaps. So like half the episode is regular. And then they every now and then they're shifting into their cartoon versions to finish the scene, or some scenes are cartoon and some scenes are not.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's just jarring. It's not great, but it is interesting.
That's definitely
that they were like, look, we're at the end of the season.
Adapt.
Let's just get it done.
Adapt to get it done. You know what sort of technology? What do we have available?
I mean, it was March 2020. Nobody knew what they were doing, and everybody was just trying something. And this is what they decided to do something instead of just shutting down and waiting.
I mean, that's interesting.
I mean, they are under network contract. They got to do it. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only interesting thing I have to say about that. I did watch Mickey 17. I put up my blog post about that. Yeah. So you can go read about it. We watched an interesting movie, Fight or Flight, which was super fun. Yeah. Totally worth checking out.
Yeah. Out of nowhere,
if you like just a fun, bloody fighting romp.
I remember when we first queued it up, I was like, why is Josh Hartnett in this? And then after watching, I was like, oh, because he just went. Like, I feel like this is
a great successor to.
Just want to have a good time.
If somebody told me this is part of the Lucky Number 11 universe, I would say absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is part of Lucky Number 11.
I could believe that.
It's the same character. Yeah. He's just. This is what he turned into.
Yeah. This is what happened after Lucky Number 11. Somehow he got involved with the CIA and then got blacklisted in what?
No, he wasn't CIA. No, he was Secret Service.
Secret Service. Yeah. And then he got blacklisted in did he start out in Thailand?
Bangkok or something. Yeah. Anyway, it's super fun. Donnell's going to write up a blog post about that, which may be out now.
Yeah. Should be. By the time you're listening to this, it should be out.
Yeah. But you've been watching some stuff, Donnell.
Yeah, I've been watching a few things. I mean, real quick, just a throwback movie for me. I checked out The Equalizer. Denzel Washington is a ex I think CIA dude. But he's just trying to live a normal life.
Isn't there a Queen Latifah show that I have tried to watch, and it's horrendous?
So the Queen Latifah show is...
But it's on season 5.
Yeah, I don't know how I keep going.
I tried to watch the first episode, and I'm like, this is not good.
I've watched a few episodes. But yeah, it's based off the same... So The Equalizer is a book series. Okay. And then they started making a movie series with Denzel Washington. There's 3 of them. I've watched the first 2. I've never checked out the third. Maybe one day I will. But no, it's just a straight up. It's the same sort of genre as John Wick, and he's just going around kicking a bunch of ass. And at the end of the day, it's like, is it like, oh, you must press out and see this as a great movie? No, but it's what I call a Saturday afternoon sort of movie or Sunday afternoon movie where it's like, yeah, you just want to relax on your couch, turn your brain off. And
The Equalizer drama series, where to watch? Tubi. Number 1 result. I'm like, oof. I love me some Tubi, but
yeah. So yeah, check that out. Like I said, nice Sunday afternoon movie. And like I said, I'd seen it before, just watched it again. Yep. Who is in it though? Crap, there was somebody in it. Oh, a young, well, not young, but David Harbour before he was a big name. He plays one of the main mobsters in it, and the first time I watched it, had no idea. Of course, I didn't know who he was, but that was one of the nice surprise on rewatching that movie. Like, oh, it's David. I was just like, check him out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He plays a mobster, and he actually is one of the few bad guys who survives to the end. So, good on him. But anyways, yeah, fine movie. Mickey 17, saw that. Good movie. I'll be writing a full review, but I'll just say this. I feel like Mickey 17, by release date, came out in March. They were filming this in 2024 and that sort of stuff. I'm like, I feel like they were writing this movie thinking that our political landscape was going to be different than it is now.
How so?
Because basically there is a Trump figure, and he is a failed politician, and everything went wrong, and it's like him.
I didn't think he was a Trump figure. I thought he was more like kind of
was a Trump figure.
No, I didn't.
The way he was holding himself and all this stuff, and the way he talked.
There's some basis
honestly,
there,
basically,
he was like a senator. He wasn't like the president.
No, he wasn't the president. They didn't make him president, but I bet if they interviewed Mark Ruffalo and said, "Who were you imitating?" he would be like Donald Trump, like. He had all even doing some hand stuff that Trump does, and he was talking like him a little bit, holding his face.
Look, that's easy, but I don't know. I didn't get that from it,
and not even with the whole cult mentality that he had, and guys wearing red hats who followed him. Like, you did not get Trump from the red hat. I guess not,
because I thought he was a minor character.
He was the main villainous.
Was he?
Pretty much.
I don't know. Read my blog post about it.
The same movie? But anyways, still, I just felt like
the wife was the main villain.
Well, yeah, but
Mark
also
Ruffalo character was just a puppet. Anyway, we don't have time to talk about Mickey 17.
Yeah.
If you want to do a whole episode on Mickey 17, we can do it, because I got a lot to say about it.
But I'll be writing an article about it also. But yeah, at least my view was, I feel like they were writing this thinking things would play out differently when they were making this movie.
But why do you think they thought that it would play out differently?
Because the way, at least, like I said, it's based, or it's, in my opinion, based off a Trump-like figure, and it's about everything, how he failed, and then basically escaped from this cultist people.
Gotcha.
And, to get away from all, so he could go find his own place and stuff. And so that was kind of my thing, is like, yeah, and I was like, now it's like, yeah, this is now more of like a Whist sort of thing, like a Whist.
Okay.
But anyways, good movie though, fun. I went and saw it, or I tried to. And so I've talked about this before. Going to see a movie by yourself, nobody else in theater, fantastic. But the opposite is not, or not the opposite, but going to see a movie and it being you and like 2 other people sucks. Like, it's either I want to go see a movie in a normal movie theater with a bunch of people because then it's just a normal movie experience, or I want nobody else there. Because it just seemed like I could just hear everything they were doing. There was an old dude behind me, and during the previews, he kept commenting on different previews, being like, I ain't going to see that. And I was like, I don't care if you're going to see the movie or not, man. I felt like I could hear them smacking their lips, and I was like, yeah, no. Going to by myself, fantastic. Going in a movie theater full of people where there's too much noise to pay attention to individuals, fine. But going to a movie theater with 2 other people, I'm like, you people need to get the hell up out of here. But yeah, it was strange there were 2 other people there. But yeah, good movie. I'll write a review about that. That's what I got.
Excellent.
Yep.
We'll be back with more what we've been watching next week because we only have 1 episode of Daredevil to cover and nothing else.
Yep.
We'll have more. Hopefully, I'll be done with Blacklist by then, and I can talk about
I will
it
have
in more detail.
Because I will have some more updates on my supernatural journey.
Yep.
Because I have
like 3 or 4 of the animes I've been following should be wrapped up by then as well. So I'm gonna have some content.
Oh man,
to talk about. Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Good stuff.
Fantastic. But yeah, again, check out our website, watchingitpod.com. There you can find those blog posts we're talking about and find links to our social media and email us, watchingitpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Mickey 17. Because I think my thoughts on it are going to be different than Donnell's thoughts on it. Because mine specifically said, do not go to the theater for this.
Well, so the reason I went to the theater is it's just I'm unemployed and it gives me something to do during the day and I have Movie Pass. Like that's the whole thing. It's like I would probably not have gone and seen Mickey 17 in theaters. It was just more of a
it's there. I'm
at home. I ain't doing anything. And I like it. So this is more of a talkative thing, but I got a scooter. I like going out my scooter. I've started referring to it personally in my head, and I'm just like, I really got to be careful because I don't want this to become a thing, but it is. I go scooting is what I say. I'm going to go for a scoot, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, don't say that.
I know, exactly. But I like to do that anyways. I like to go out with my scooter and stuff, and so yeah, like I said, Mickey going into the movie theater at 12 p.m. is just like, it gives me a reason to hop on the scooter, go for a ride, go check out a movie, drink and eat because it's one of those theaters, and then ride my scooter back.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.